Welcome to the Burnt Pancakes podcast. I am your host, Katie, and I am reminding you that everyone burns their first pancake. Today, I'm having a conversation with Linda Koroma. She is the founder of Mama Rise Up, a company committed to uplifting and motivating moms through the motherhood journey. She's going to share with us her experience as a first-time mom and how that led her to create her business, which is helping struggling moms feel better throughout the day and take a stand for maternal health. So welcome, Linda.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so
Oh,
glad to be here today.
I love having you on. So start off, let us know how old is your little girl?
She is 4 years old, soon to be 5 here in a couple months. But
Oh
yes,
gosh, that's a big one, that 5-year mark. Ooh.
yeah, I heard that during the kindergarten stage is the milestones just happen quickly. So we'll
And
see here because she'll be
it's
in
funny, when I had
kindergarten.
kids, I was so excited about the baby stage, but now as
Mhm,
they're getting older, so I have one who is also 5 and he's starting kindergarten next year. There's so
mhm.
many exciting things to look forward to. It's an exciting time, that school
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
I mean, it's
If
sad
there's
to
one
leave
thing
that
someone
stage behind, but it's fun.
if there was something someone once told me, and they said, if there's a stage in your child's development that you don't like, don't worry. It doesn't last long. And
It'll
if there's a
pass.
change if there's a stage that you love, don't get used to it because it'll pass too. It won't last.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, right now
Yeah.
my 3-year-old has been throwing some massive tantrums. So yeah, that stage could pass. I'm
Oh,
good with that one.
yeah.
We're like
Feel you
in
on
that
that.
he doesn't take naps sometimes, but still kind of needs them. Yeah, that stage.
Yeah. Got it.
So tell me a little bit about your business, Mama Rise Up. So what inspired you to start that?
Yeah. I started Mama Rise Up all based off experiences. I was excited to be a new mom. Definitely
Mhm.
something that we planned. Received a lot of advice from, I like to say, subject matter professional moms, right? Experienced moms.
Yes.
But then later discovered you cannot truly, fully 100% prepare for motherhood. And I feel like I thought I was going in ready and literally just fell flat on my face.
Oh, for sure. Like I got hit by a truck.
Like
And again,
exactly.
I felt like I was very prepared. And yeah, no one prepares you for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I was challenged with just the adjustment to motherhood, to being a mom. Also, then the next stage was going back to work, being a working mom, just trying to juggle
Mm.
all of that. Prior to that, I was one who was all about my profession. And then my mind just a bit shifted a bit more, and then I had to figure out like, how do I really juggle being a good mom and a good working professional at the same time? So throughout the whole process of me trying to overcome these obstacles, I started to think like, how many other moms are out there feeling this way in the sense of just being challenged of the new phase of motherhood, being responsible for someone 24/7 of the time, and also having to find what I like to say now, the new you, right? Because I think in the beginning, I was very challenged about, well, the old me, I want to go back to this, I want to go back to that, this is what I want. But then I had to realize that there you can't really go back. It's in a sense it's a new version of yourself. So just having those thoughts and trying to understand how to overcome them, it really made me think of other moms who are possibly thinking the same thing and just don't even know how to express it. So I decided to create Mama Rise Up, which is basically a boutique shop. I create products that help uplift moms through their motherhood journey. We have peel and stick affirmations, and in there are 50 peel and stick affirmations where someone could put them on the refrigerator or put them on the laptop. So a mom that you may know could come in and see that, and it could definitely, put a smile to her face. Or even I've been told that moms themselves, they put them around the house to remind them, especially when they're having that
Love that.
moment.
You know
Yeah,
what I heard someone do once? She would take like little motivational quotes and affirmations and stick them on changing tables out in public, like a
mm,
public bathroom,
mhm,
so that a mom
yeah,
who's probably, at her wits ends, like changing in a public bathroom, will see it. So, oh my gosh, I am going to get some of those and start spreading them. Oh, I love that.
yeah. I love that idea, just randomly putting it out,
Yes.
in places for people to see. But that was pretty much the whole purpose, right? And then the recent product that I have of late is the Do Not Disturb doorknob, where it basically says mom is on Do Not Disturb mode. And the purpose of that is just to use for whatever, the mom may need to, whether if it's time to herself or she wants to breastfeed and, without disruption, just
Mhm.
letting everyone on the other side of that door, please do not come through this these
Yes.
walls right now at the moment because I need my personal time. But again, the products were all created with mothers in mind, and finding ways to just let moms know that you are supported. And, it's just a patch you're going through and you are allowed to have, time to yourself or, just a small little encouragement of, hey, you're a badass mom right there. You're doing great out there. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I love that. Gosh, you said
Yeah.
so much in there that I like want to unpack. You mentioned, maybe there's other moms out there feeling this. Oh my gosh, there's
Hmm.
millions of moms who feel this, especially when you have your first and you're like dropped into this new world. You're right. Like, I think one of the hardest things for me was realizing I'm not the same as I was before. I kind of like mourned my old life. I was prepared to be a mom and I knew I wanted it. But then you realize like things are different now. I'm not going back to who I was. And that's okay. And it's okay.
Yeah.
I know, like, to my relationship with my husband, like in the first, few months of being a mom, it was like, we can't just like go out to dinner at 9 o'clock at night like we used to. And
Hmm.
like I knew that would be the case, but it was like I was mourning what we used to be. Now having three kids, I know, you do get that back and you can find yourselves again, but it was a shock to my system when I had my
Yeah.
first.
Completely agreed. We had that awkward conversation too, where I told my husband, I just want to go back to how things used to be. And,
Yeah,
he was like, it can't, it has to be a new way. And,
right.
in that moment I was upset because I was like, but no, but I really do.
Right. And it's like
But then
you
again,
almost feel selfish for admitting that. Like
yeah,
I feel bad for saying like I'm supposed to love this kid with every ounce of me. It's like I do love him, but I miss I miss being able to just work out when I felt like it. I miss my old body that I had.
mhm,
So the fact that you were able to admit that to him, that's one step in the right
yeah.
direction.
And even in that moment, by all means, I never felt like, oh, I don't love my daughter.
100%.
It was just, again, the stage of just having to understand that,
Mhm.
you know, you are at your journey is changing now. And it's just trying to accept that. So I just started to think there has to be so many other moms feeling this way. I can't be the only one. So that's how
Mhm.
Mama Rise Up was created.
Wow, I love that. So you went back to work after you had kids.
Mhm.
How old was your
Yeah,
daughter when you went back?
just 3 months. I
Mm,
just did
yeah.
the maternity time frame leave that I
And
had
they
at the
say like,
time was
oh,
three
it's so
months.
great. You get a full 12 weeks. That is not nearly enough. Like what would be some of your like best tips or like words of encouragement for moms who are going back to work?
Oh my goodness. Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. And all the feelings that you are feeling in that moment, they're valid. They are valid feelings to have.
Mhm.
And give yourself time just to adjust and don't be so hard on yourself. And also just if you are the mom that I was, which was I started thinking like, I don't want to work this hard anymore for corporate.
Yeah.
Like I just really want to do my job until 5 o'clock and, be done
Mhm.
for the day and transition to be, a mom.
Yeah.
That's okay too,
Okay.
and it may be it's okay if you have to reassess, okay, what is my career growth going to look like now that I am a mom?
Mhm.
All of those thoughts are okay to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
and don't beat yourself up about it.
Because it's hard to feel that pressure of if I am doing a good job at work, I'm slacking at home. And if I'm like being the best mom I can be, then I'm not doing the best I can at work. So it's to find that balance. And for some people, they do want to go back to work, and that's okay too. No one
Yeah,
needs to be a stay-at-home mom. If that's what you're
exactly.
called for and you can do that, awesome. If you are called, like I was talking to one mom and she's like, I cannot be home with my kids all the time. I have to be at work. And it's like, yeah, like you are doing what's right for you. Like that's what feels
Mhm.
good to you.
Yeah. And going back what you said, can you imagine during the pandemic, many of us were working at home with our
Yeah.
children, you know? that was a whirlwind,
Oh, it
and
was
some people
crazy. Because
still
how
are.
old was your daughter then? She was like a toddler.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it was kind of a blessing for me because I had just had my third that December. So he was
Okay.
3 months old when the pandemic hit. So out of all of my kids, he was the one with me the most because my job went fully virtual. It was pretty
Okay.
flexible before. So it's not that I was working 9 to 5 out of the house, but I had no one to watch my kids. So he was with me all the time. So when you talk about breastfeeding, he was the one I was able to breastfeed the longest because he was with me all the time. So I always think like, oh, that was kind of a blessing that my husband was working from home. I was working from home. So we got more time with him, I feel like. But
Yeah.
also it was crazy. It was crazy having those three kids home and trying to get work done. And yeah, that was a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. So tell me, you started a blog that moms can submit to called Dear Future Mom, Dear Future Mama.
Yes.
Tell
Yeah. Dear
me,
future mama.
because that's how I found you. And I just found it so therapeutic to submit that. So tell me about your blog.
Yeah, again, it was just me trying to find ways to be a bit more transparent, about the whole concept of motherhood, and I thought, okay, what if moms could really just tell their story to their pre-mom self,
Mhm.
and then another mom could read that and actually they could be going through that same exact challenge in that moment and realize they could either get tips or advice within that letter or just realize, you know what, I'm not the only one who has gone through this at this particular moment, and again, feel in that moment like, okay, I'm not alone. Because I feel like society we've come up in this concept of you should do everything by yourself, or you should,
Mhm.
and it's like I want to go back to the times where my mom, when I was a kid, where it was a sense of community,
Yes.
and the Dear Future Mom blog, though it is virtual, right? It's all online, it's a blog, but I just wanted to create some sort of sense of community, and even if it is in a virtual sense, because you'll be surprised how many people have kids and they feel like they don't have any support at all, which is something that I was trying to find a way to say for that person, like, what could I create to help them just go through some letters and say, you know what? Okay, I can get through this. We've had some amazing letters. One from yourself too, which I love. It's one of my favorites. But from moms talking about being a teenage mom and with the challenges of that, and still being able to, achieve their goals after having a baby,
Mhm.
to moms talking about being a single parent, something that they never thought that they would ever have to do, right? They never saw it for themselves and how they were challenged on that. And all different things that are there that we talk about. And I know you've had an amazing one where you kind of put a spin to, motherhood to where it's quite hilarious. And I just
I
love
tried
it,
to make it a little funny. Yeah. Because that's
I
the
just
only way
love
I've
that
survived motherhood is just to laugh at it.
humor. Yeah, yeah.
But I love
So
that anyone reading them will find something that will resonate
yes,
with them. Yeah.
yeah.
Because I mean, no one really said to me before I became a mom, like, it's going to feel lonely at times. And like, if I could go back to myself, I would say, like, there are moments where you're going to feel alone. So you're right. Like, can we go back to that time where moms are raising kids together? Like, my favorite thing is just being able to meet my friends at the park, or my best friend, she and I have husbands that work later. So we would
Okay.
do like play in her backyard and then we would do dinner together. And that saved me, just knowing that
Mhm.
like I could mother together because it's hard. Like, do you have a commute, like a group that you feel like you can fall back on, or is it hard to find that tribe, that community?
At first, for me, it was hard to find. But now I do have a local tribe. And originally, I had to realize you do have a tribe, but it's just not necessarily nearby. At
Mhm.
the time, my sister was in Chicago and I'm in the DC area. My best friend was in Atlanta, but they were still a phone away. But then now I do have a tribe of women locally that I could definitely reach out to for help, which,
Mhm.
it took time to get there. You know, but I'm definitely appreciative of just having that as well,
Gosh, and
and
you're
it's
right.
something that
And
someone,
go ahead.
and I was going to say something that you said earlier, like, I feel like though motherhood is your journey, no one should feel like they should go through it alone,
Hmm.
and that's again another reason of Mama Rise Up is just being able to know like you should, there are people rooting for you,
Yes.
there's just that sense of encouragement as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and just someone's rooting for you.
Yeah,
We're all feeling it. There's someone rooting for you. Oh, love
yeah.
that. Can people still contribute to your blog? Are you still accepting um, submissions for the blog?
Yes, always accepting submissions. So if you go on the site, which is mamariseupshop.com, there is a section for Dear Future Mom, and under there is a submission section. So if you can just click there, you can fill out the form and submit your letter. And there's also an option for anonymous. I've had some moms say, I would love to do this, but I just don't want to put my name in that there.
Yeah.
And I respect that as well. And we could post it in that form.
And how like therapeutic it was for me. Because I all the time I say, I just wish I could go back to my new mom self and just give me a hug. Because I just
Mm,
needed to know like there's help out there. You're gonna be fine. Like I wish I could see myself now and go, oh, somehow I got there. So it was
yeah.
so therapeutic to write to myself and say, you're gonna be fine. Like it's crazy now, but you're gonna be okay.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I had a friend of mine said, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And she finally did it. And what she didn't tell me until after she submitted, she goes, it was really a lot. Like it was heavy. Like I felt like I was sitting in a therapy session with myself to write this
Mhm.
note. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make
But
it
like in
feel
a
that way.
good
She
way,
goes, no,
right?
but it was good. I needed it,
Yes.
And I was like, oh my goodness, so it definitely can be a therapy session for some as
Yeah.
well.
Because we're so busy with motherhood and you give so much of yourself, you really have to become so selfless that you kind of go through the motions and later look back and think, wow, like I don't think I really processed how that was for me.
Yeah.
What would you say to your new mom self? What would you tell her?
Oh man, I was so tell her, look, it's going to be okay. Don't be so hard on yourself. I
Yes.
remember beating myself up about breastfeeding,
Mhm.
and just bawling, like, why isn't this going the way I wanted it to go?
Yeah.
Be open to just being flexible because you may have a plan one way, but then, you know, baby may eat more than you can actually supply,
Yep.
and supplementing is okay.
Oh my gosh,
You know what I
that
mean?
is exactly what I would have told myself because that happened with all three of my kids. And I, for
All
the
three.
first child, beat myself up. When
Yeah.
I had to switch to formula, I made my husband go to the grocery store to buy it because I could not
Mhm.
bring myself to buy it. I mean, now I look back and I'm like, it was such a blessing that we had that, but it
Yeah,
was. I beat myself up a lot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Likewise, likewise.
yeah.
And then I beat myself up when I had to do my first travel after going back to work, and then my supply drained, and I was like, oh my gosh, but I was only doing 50%.
Oh, that's
And
when I
then I
went
just
back
had
to
to say,
work.
you know what?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
That's when it
okay.
takes.
You wanted to do up to 1 year, you lasted 6 months. That it was an
That's
amazing six
great. And
months.
is she so
Um,
healthy? She's doing
and
fine?
she's fine. And
She's
that's what's really important. Yeah.
yeah.
So again, it's just being kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up too much about it and just be flexible to what kind of little baby you get and just be enjoying the moments is the most important part.
Right. Oh my gosh, you're so right. Um, okay, so my goal on the podcast is just to open
Mhm,
up that it's okay to make mistakes and motherhood can be hard, but I don't want it to go like in that negative. We're always complaining about motherhood. So if you could share
mhm.
like what has been a highlight of being a mom.
You know what really gets me to this day is watching her milestones,
Mhm.
especially when she was younger, or now that her vocabulary is
Yes.
much better, is her showing her appreciation. Oh my goodness. Like that just melts my heart when she'll
Mhm.
just randomly say, Mom, I love you, and then just give me the biggest hug.
Yes.
But when she was younger, the milestones to me always just would give me this huge tearjerker, like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that.
I know.
But
And
yeah,
that's what you get as they get older, you start seeing more of it. So like when you're in
yeah,
that baby stage, you're given everything and not getting much back. So it's fun when
yeah,
you start feeling that come back. Oh, I love this.
yeah.
Oh, well, this was such a great conversation. I feel exactly how you're feeling, and I'm so glad that you recognize that other moms need that and you are putting this out into the world. Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Thank you so
let's
much.
say someone wants to find you. Where can we find you on social and on the internet?
Yes. Well, the website is mamariseupshop.com. And you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Mama Rise Up. And I'm
Awesome.
all those platforms. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to put all of those in the description and the show
Okay.
notes. And I just want to thank you because it's been such an open and honest conversation.
No, thank you so much for having me.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone for tuning in to this conversation. I don't know about you, but I definitely was one of those moms, and still am, that needed to hear Linda's message. And I am so appreciative and grateful for all of you for listening. If you don't want to miss next week's conversation, make sure to subscribe to this podcast and come find me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at Burnt Pancakes with Katie. I love when I hear from my listeners. I want to connect with you. I want to be friends with you. So come find me. And last off, remember, everyone burns the first pancake, so just keep flipping.